The Lakers did not get better in any way. They had the exact same team they had last year. And LeBron is a year older, and they have a brand new coach who's never coached before. And then this Bronny James thing is going to be a weird wrinkle of the season. I don't think it's going to be a positive. And it's cool that he's going to be able to play with his son, but it's going to be a major distraction this whole season. It just is. And the odds of this team really looking rocky in December and being a panic trade candidate, I would think they're one of my number ones. I mean, how about this? So LeBron, who we had to go through the charade of he was going to take way less to get a free agent. I can't believe people reported on that story with a straight face. Ends up with, he took a little less to get them under the apron.
But thank God he did that, because the first report was that it was $104 million. It was going to put him above the second apron going into the season. And you're thinking, there's no way. There's no way the optics alone that you wouldn't shave a few million off,
especially when your son's making $2 million a year.
Right. So he didn't do that.
Well, what he did do, and I've never seen this before, and if anyone can explain this, I would love to know what the explanation is. No trade clause, but there's a 15% trade kicker. How does that make sense? They can't trade him, but it's a 15% trade kicker if they do trade him? What? What is that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Can he waive the no trade clause?
I just raised my suspicion I just thought it was, I've never seen that before.
Are you saying, well, the problem is
if a wink, wink. Yeah. If we have to trade you in January, then you'll get paid. You'll get that money back and then some. I just don't understand it. And then I was looking at like, all right, what's their panic trade in December? It's like I don't even know what the panic trade is, because nobody wants like D'Angelo Russell at $18 million a year, right? Nobody wants Gabe Vincent at 11. You'd be like, oh, we'll package our our contracts together with a couple picks. And it's like, I don't know if anyone wants that, because then they're stuck with the contracts. And the only guy I can look at that it made sense to me was Levine, who his stock cratered to the point that Golden State was offered Levine for Chris Paul, who they were going to waive, and Wiggins, and they were like, we're good, no thanks. So Levine basically has anti-trade value now. And I don't, other than him and Ingram and DeAndre Ayton, who else would the Lakers even get?
Levine's contract and his injury history tells you everything you need to know about the market. So that makes sense that you're attaching something to that for someone to take that on. But with the amount of time left on that deal, it's not even really like the salary dump. It's like, now you have to deal with this thing.
It's 3 years, 150 left, which makes it impossible to trade.
Right. The other thing that you're hinting at here is, why is there a trade kicker? I didn't see that part of it. I saw the no trade part, because when it was happening, and I thought, are they actually, because the initial report suggested that they were going to be just over like the second apron, just over it. And I was like, there's no way they can go into it. And then it'll be really weird if LeBron becomes passive aggressive about the lack of activity before the trade deadline. And it's like, well, dude, we're stuck. We're stuck on this one.
They haven't even started the season, and guys have already been in trade rumors with them, right? It was like, we're going to get Klay Thompson. It would have been a sign and trade with D'Angelo Russell. Well, I wonder if LeBron knew about that one. And now the season starts, it's like, hey, D'Angelo, good to see you again. How was your summer? It's like, oh, yeah, I tried to trade you for the 9th time.
The report was, and Klay apparently had dinner down here at the Bottle Inn with the Dallas contingency. Yeah, I know. Once I read the story, I was like, oh, right down the street, get takeout from there all the time. And the report was that the Lakers were willing to go higher than even what Dallas did. And that Klay was like, look, I can see how I fit in with Dallas immediately, even though I think there's some Dallas questions about your perimeter defense if you're closing with Klay, Kyrie, and Luka.
You think?
Yeah, I love
because Klay can't guard anyone anymore. That was what was so funny about the Lakers scenario. It's like, oh, good, another guy who doesn't play defense. He'll fit right in. As everybody's going by all these dudes. I don't like what the Lakers have done at all. And really
what else were they going to do after the AD and the LeBron extension?
I don't think they had a lot of choices.
I don't think they did
they're paying
either.
$100+ million for 2 guys, but basically they need Vanderbilt to be healthy, and they need Connect to be good, to at least be like a 9th man who can play and shoot. And they kind of need Gabe Vincent to be who he was 2 years ago. So there's 3 big can this happens. They're not inconceivable. But other than that, I don't think they're getting that Davis durability season again. Do you? It says durable is, I mean, and we'll talk about Paul George and the Sixers after the break, but are they getting that Paul George durability season again? Not sure.
No, I mean, the better bet would be that you're not going to get the same level of durability from him because it was basically unprecedented for him at this stage of his career,
Yeah.
considering how much he's been hurt in the past. But it was an awesome season. I think you'll see more Reeves on the ball. I think you'll see him initiating more stuff. I think that's what Redick is probably looking at. Because I think in the beginning, Ham didn't quite understand Reeves. Benching him would tip me off to that.
Well, how about in the playoffs, when the first playoffs a year ago, when that was like their best asset against Denver, and then Ham he just wouldn't get the ball in the fourth quarter. Remember how much trouble Denver had matching up against Reeves that first playoff series? And then you're right, like that last year, Ham didn't get him at all. I get the criticisms with Ham because I didn't think he did a great job last year.
But to your original like conspiracy Bill point of the LeBron part of it, it's just not very, because I think anything's on the table when you're theorizing what could happen. Could LeBron say, all right, I played with my son on the same floor, but we're not winning it? But who's trading enough assets back for a $50 million price tag on a player, even if everybody wanted LeBron?
I don't know.
So I don't.
And then the Clippers. It's like, no, they're going to be better with Batum and Derek Jones and the Paul George minutes. Now they're going to emphasize defense. It's like, they're definitely not going to be better, guys. I have Clipper fans in my life who are like, no, it's more of a team now. It's like, just stop. Paul George was really good last year. To me, the Clippers, I have them last out of all those teams. Zubac, Batum, Kawhi, Derek Jones, and Harden. And then Man, Powell, Chris Dunn, Coffee, Bamba. That feels like a lottery team to me. That's like 120-game Kawhi injury, and you're in the lottery.
Yeah, Kawhi.
The West is too good.
The fact they got both those guys all NBA level, and then Kawhi's just not available for him in the first round. I think anything was possible for that team if they were healthy in the West. I really do. I mean, that
last year,
that run was incredible. I still think that win against Boston was the single most impressive game I'd seen from a team all season long. Like, I'd put that game up against every other game that I watched this entire year, where they kicked their ass and they were all locked in. And I went, this is real, which is also why I could have understood, despite some of the cost stuff that we're talking about and how much we've all been just referencing the second apron here for weeks, where if they had just said, we'll just run it back. Like, at least this gives us a chance because of what we saw before, even if the same thing with the Sixers and the Paul George part of it. Now, like Anthony Davis, as you just mentioned, some teams are just better health bets, and the Clippers still would have been a bad health bet. And you're right. If they don't have Kawhi, I think Harden will put up some huge numbers. By the way, did you get any sense on who they were bidding against on that Harden deal, or was that just a, hey, this is kind of your status in the league, and since
that felt like
George,
a wink from 9 months ago? Yeah, who was going over 30 on him? But we said that last year with Kawhi and Dallas. Like, sometimes there were no other. I'm not Kawhi, Kyrie. There were no other Kyrie bidders last summer, and Dallas still had to pay it. So I think it's just the way it goes. The thing for me with the Clippers and the Lakers is I think it's more conceivable to me that both teams miss the playoffs than make it, which is a pretty crazy place to be when you think like 6 years ago when the Davis trade and Kawhi and Paul George go to the Clippers, like, oh my God, Battle LA, here we go. And now I look at it and it's like, maybe that would be a fun FanDuel bet. Do you think both LA teams could miss the playoffs this year? Meaning not be one of the 8 playoff teams. I think it's decent odds.
I'm just going off of last year's standings. That would be OKC, Denver, Minnesota in, Clippers out, Dallas in, Phoenix in. So that's 5. And then you're putting
Memphis basically taking somebody's spot.
Sacramento stays in the top 10. Memphis takes somebody's spot. And New Orleans.
Maybe Houston. I mean, Houston could also be one of those, we actually have too many guys who think they're hot shit, and this has been in kind of a weirdly unhappy season. Ime's mad at everybody. I could see that version of their season too.
But I do like Ime.
Playing enough.
I like Ime in that spot as opposed to a younger dude who's never been a head coach before with a young team, where he'll just be like,
juggle everybody.
I don't care about your rookie extension. Like, here are the 8 guys.
Yeah. Well, out of all those odds, I think Memphis at 20-1 seems like the best odds.